So, in my island update for this week, I'm going to be talking about the truth of going anywhere in Europe this summer. Not just talking about Mallorca, but just to give you some perspective about actually holidaying this summer in 2025. Plus, I've got a big transport update for you too, as well as the cruise news and the all-important weather forecast for the week ahead. And you can see I'm over here in Cala Mayor. I'm staying local this morning because I do have an appointment in Palma, and I wanted to get out before it got very, very hot and sunny this morning. But more about the weather later, and I'm absolutely melting here. It's absolutely boiling hot. I don't have a cafe con leche. I've got a cold bottle of water. So anyway, let's start this video by talking about the truth about holidaying anywhere in Europe this summer. Now, if you've seen my videos recently, you will know that I've been talking about the real costs of coming over here to Mallorca. I'm completely transparent actually about what your holiday is going to involve and some hidden costs, so you guys don't get a nasty surprise. But what many of you have done who have been watching the videos, been watching these videos in isolation, and my goodness, that comment section has been busy with people saying you're not coming to Spain anymore and we're not coming back, and you're going to holiday elsewhere. But we're going to take a look at actually the reality of holidaying everywhere in southern Europe this summer, and also what you're going to face too. Now, if you want to see exactly what it's like holidaying over here in Mallorca, please stop reading the mainstream media because, well, these guys are making up absolutely ridiculous stories. Please check out my channel, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I've got plenty of content on here, and if you want to see what the results look like in real time and unedited, go back and watch my live streams. I was over in Palma and Magaluf last night. You can see exactly what the resort was like, and it's nothing like it's being portrayed in the press either. I think the UK press has a special hatred for Spain at the moment because they know that those articles get the clicks and they know that those articles make the money, but you guys are lapping it up. It's just incredible. Go back and have a look at the comments on those videos. But I'm just going to highlight a couple here. I feel like it has to be done. And from username Shucky Lad, and he says, thanks for the info. Outline a minefield that's sadly best avoided by going elsewhere. Another comment as well here referring to the tourist tax that you have to pay when you're coming over here to Mallorca if you're checking into any kind of registered hotel accommodation or Airbnb accommodation. Got a comment here from WGA Cologne 6538. He or she says, just another unnecessary tax and tourists are being fleeced. Not going to Spain anymore, I'm going to be spending my money elsewhere. So let's just have a quick look at the tourism tax, shall we? The eco tax, as we call it over here in Mallorca. The eco tax doesn't actually apply to everywhere in Spain. It applies to over here in the Balearic Islands, so that's Mallorca, Menorca, Formentera and Ibiza. It also applies to the Costa Brava and to the Barcelona area as well, so it's not everywhere in Spain. However, you may also get a nasty shock if you go to Italy. We've just been to Italy. We had to pay a tourism tax there too, in addition to our stay. But you're also going to find, and I'm referring to my notes here, haven't even had a chance to print them out this morning, I've got them on my iPad, but you're going to be paying a tourism tax in France, in Portugal, you're going to be paying tourism tax in Greece, in Germany, in Austria, Switzerland, Slovenia, Croatia, Hungary, the Netherlands, Belgium and the Czech Republic. And that's just for starters. So the comments that we've had about Greece being a lot cheaper, sometimes things level out because, for example, tourism tax is much more expensive over there than it is over here on the island. So please, if you are saying, if you're putting that comment, I'm going elsewhere, that's it, I'm taking my money elsewhere, make sure you do your research. Don't just watch one video in isolation. Actually do your research and don't just go off what you're reading in the news either, because the chances are that that information isn't entirely accurate. However, I do have, and I think this is the award for the most ridiculous comment of the week, and maybe I should start that as a thing actually, the ridiculous comment of the week. It is from Peter Sinclair. Sorry about this, Peter, but I'm going to have to read it out. He says, was in Mallorca last year, 2 men said, go back to England, but we won't be back. We spent thousands in that place, no more, goodbye Mallorca. Well, I have to say, if 2 people can change your entire impression about an entire island or country even, that really does say a lot. It's like me going over to the UK and basically someone being a bit mean to me and saying, that's it, I'm not going to the UK anymore. There were 2 mean people, I'm not going. I mean, seriously, get a grip. That's all I have to say, get a grip. Anyway, there does seem to be this perception that people here should be grovelling at your feet if you're coming over here on holiday. Maybe that comment was justified. Maybe you're acting in a way that was inappropriate for anyone coming over here on holiday. The jury's out about that, I'm just saying. And at the end of the day, if you don't come on holiday to Mallorca or to Spain, you're going to be replaced by thousands of others as well. We've got plenty of holiday makers over here as well. So that's the final words on the subject for this week. Anyway, let's move on. So before we talk about the weather forecast here, let's just take a quick look at Greece and Turkey, because I've had so many comments as well over the months saying, that's it, I'm going to Turkey, I'm going to Greece. What's going on over there? Well, they have had widespread wildfires and incredibly high temperatures too. Reuters, the news agency, they have said over 230 firefighters and aerial support have been deployed in Crete. Winds complicate efforts. There have been respiratory issues for some evacuees. About 1,000 people have been evacuated. 5,000 holiday makers have been asked to leave the southeast of Crete. I mean, that's a serious situation. It's absolutely awful. Authorities have declared as well a state of emergency in the wider municipal area of Ierapetra on Thursday. A state broadcaster ERT said more than 1,000 residents and tourists were evacuated from at least 4 settlements. Most took shelter in an indoor stadium, while others were transferred to hotels in the north or left Crete by boat, authorities said. And meanwhile, in Turkey, thousands fled as authorities battled wildfires in Çeşme and Ödemiş districts for a second day on the western coast province of Izmir. Now, we haven't seen any wildfires over here yet in Mallorca. I'm keeping my fingers crossed about it. It's been very hot, it's been very dry here. But just a reminder, please, if you are over here on holiday, I have been seeing lit cigarettes flying out of car windows. I've also been seeing as well holidaymakers throwing lit cigarettes on the ground as well. Please don't start a fire. Your lit cigarette that you could be tossing out the window can start a devastating fire on the island, and we don't want to see the consequences of this. So just be a bit mindful if you're coming over here on holiday. If you do get caught doing that as well, you're going to pick up a fine. So also, I've seen a few concerns as well across social media about the heat that we've had, particularly over here in Mallorca, about families coming over here with young kids and worried that it's going to be too hot for them to come over. And also these same holiday makers are asking if they should actually cancel their holiday. Well, from a technical point of view, and just looking at the Jet2 policy, no refund is given if you're cancelling your holiday within 14 days of travel, and that's unless the country is on the Foreign Office no-go list, which of course it isn't. It's just hot here, it's summer. However, if you are coming over, you need to manage the heat, and there is a way of doing it. The best way of staying cool and having a fantastic time if you're coming over, you don't need to worry too much. But however, here are my tips. Get out early in the morning. We can see some people out here on the beach early doors down here in Calamayor. I'm sure it's the case across all beaches around the island. Get out early, try and get in again, around midday-ish. Have a break up your day, get inside for a couple of hours, have a siesta. And then maybe come out later on in the afternoon as well, but try and just break up the day from that really extreme heat. Other tips as well, if you're leaving your hotel room, draw all the curtains and close the doors, don't let that heat in. You'll go back to a much cooler hotel room. But one thing I have to ask as well is that you do not leave the air conditioning on if you're renting an Airbnb or a private apartment. Most hotels are pretty good actually. You take out the key card and it switches off and shuts down the aircon. But if you are going out, do not leave that aircon on. I've heard of some minor power outages over in Palma over the past few days, and this is simply because of the number of people travelling and the amount of people using air conditioning in these really high temperatures. So if you leave your air conditioning on, you may well be contributing to a power outage if you're not actually using it. So just bear that in mind. Also, as well as just literally as the sweat pours down my face here, it's just very, very hard here to make anything resembling a decent video. But we had some water supply issues up in Porto Poyensa, around areas of Porto Poyensa. I found out about this when we were on holiday in Italy, but the good news is it looks like that water pipe has now been fixed. Several villas were left without water supply for a few days, but I think things are going to be up and running now, but don't worry too much. However, with the lack of rain that we do have on the island, we may well be subject to water shortages as we go on through the summer. And bearing in mind it's only just July now, should you be worried? No, you shouldn't be, because They do tend to prioritise hotels here with regards to water over and above residents, especially up in the mountain villages. Don't worry too much. If I hear of any news of water shortages, I'll let you know, but please use water responsibly on the islands. Don't just leave taps running, make sure they're switched off if you're going out as well. Okay, so very briefly, let me just give you a very quick transport update as well. You may remember my videos last week talking about an airline strike. We're caught up in the EasyJet airline strike. I was also caught up in the air traffic control strike as well, coming back from Italy. I don't have any other news about airline strikes for this week, but like I said in those videos, those strikes can literally pop out of absolutely nowhere. Please follow the Mallorca Under the Sun page, the Facebook page, as well as joining the group if you have any questions, but do follow that page. If I hear of news of strikes, I will post it there. But also as well, I was asked in the live stream from Palma last night about a possible strike taking place on the TIB resin yellow buses, the island-wide buses, if a strike was going to be taking place. And I have had a look online to see that we've got proposed strike dates, 24-hour stoppages on the 18th, 21st and 23rd of July. Now, this is quite a long way off, and I'm hoping that all of this is going to be resolved. It's about working conditions apparently, and probably pay as well, but it's quite a long way off. Again, go and join the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook page. I'll keep you posted about that, because it could affect your journey from the airport if you're planning on taking public transport, or indeed if you're planning on sightseeing around the islands. But I'm hoping that is going to be resolved, because at that time of the year we're going to have a lot of people on the island and we're going to need those buses working. Further news as well, bus news. We've got the 123 TIB bus which runs through the Calvia area from over here in Cascatela down towards Palma and Magaluf. It's now stopping off in Ilietes. If you're staying over in Ilietes, you're going to have easier access to Portals Naus, to Porto Portals, to Palma Nova, to Magaluf, and everything that those resorts have to offer, which is amazing news. And this bus actually just goes up the hill in Ilietes. It doesn't go around the beaches, so you are going to have to walk up towards that main hill. We've got 2 new bus stops there. We also have a new bus running between Palma and Cala Rajada, which stops off in Arta and Cap de Pera as well. That's the 411 TIB bus. And even better news as well, from Calador we have a direct bus which is going to be non-stop from Santanyí. It's the 515, it's a brand new route. You won't have to change at Campos anymore. It's going to mean if you're staying over in Calador, you can more easily get into Palma City for the day. Likewise as well, if you want to go on a day trip over to Calador, you're going to more easily be able to do that without having to change buses too. Okay, so finally, cruise news. If you are planning your day trip into Palma for this week, well, we've got a total of 53,000 passengers plus visiting Palma Port for this week. The busiest day is going to be Saturday the 12th of July. We're going to have 14,000 passengers arriving in on the Ida Cosma, the Marella Voyager and the Norwegian Breakaway cruise ships, and they're just the really big ones. The quietest day for visiting Palma this week is going to be on Thursday. We have just under 3,000 passengers arriving on that day, and also Sunday with just 1,500 cruise passengers. So they're my 2 recommended days if you're planning a day out over in Palma for this week. Maybe consider those 2 days. And finally, the weather, as I'm sitting here melting into the chair here and just dissolving, basically. It's hot, it's humid. We've got highs this week of 34 degrees Celsius. Lows aren't going to get down much further than 21 degrees Celsius. I was very pleased in Palma Nova last night that it did cool off a little bit. By the time I made my way back to my car, it's about 11 p.m, but it's still very, very hot and it's very humid over here. And you can see we've got a little bit of clouds building up. We do have a risk of thunderstorms and a few showers, mainly in the northeast of the island actually, so maybe around Puerto Poyensa, Alcudia way. We have a 55% chance over in Palma and the southwest and other areas of the island on Tuesday. But once again, I don't know, I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to rain. I think we're going to just have this very muggy weather, but time will tell, we shall see. Okay everyone, thank you very much for watching my island update for this week. I'm going to be out and about in resorts again this week. I also may have a travel extra for you as well coming up. Keep your eyes out for that video. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget, you can find me on the Facebook group and on my Instagram, also called Mallorca Under the Sun. I'm also going to drop a couple of videos appearing both here and here on YouTube to help you out with your holiday. I'll be back next Monday. Another lovely location. Hopefully it'll be a bit cooler, let's see. But in the meantime, have a fantastic week ahead and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.